Heck of a promoter, now a father of two. He hails from Weatherford, Texas, by way of the Badlands. Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Olsen.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Hell yeah. I'm really excited to be here. I've got something that I think can appeal to every single one of you. Doesn't matter what you got going on, we can always make it better. Let's just get off into it right now. I want you, if you take anything away from this presentation, I want you guys to dig deep in yourselves and find out, what do you want? It doesn't have to be shoeing, it can be life, it can be any goals that you have. But right now, I want you to think about what that is. Is it money? Money is good. I'm a big fan of money, but money helps life go easier, but it's not life. So, what are you going to do? You can't just focus your life on money. And you can't just focus it on your career. So I want you to focus on having a quality life. Whatever version that is to you, that's what I want you thinking about right now. Think with me for a moment. Insanity, do we all agree that doing the same thing over and over is insanity, right? So then how come there's a bunch of people out there that are 50 years old that complain about how they can't get any better prices than they did when they were 20, and they can brag about having 30 years of experience? What's wrong with that? When was the last time they worked on themselves? How come there's an 18-year-old stud in every single sport, career, anything you can pick out that just kills it? Comes in and crushes that guy's prices. Does better horses, better at golf, football, you name it, one and all of them. How is that possible? That's because they work on themselves. This career, people will let you do good or let you do bad. You're the only one that's going to hold you to the level that you think you should be at. Now, we are at Friday afternoon. There is one more presentation, but essentially the convention is over. What have you learned? You got notes? I've got notes wrote down of every single speaker. Bar talk, anything. Do you? Do you have a plan? Monday morning, you get back home and you're going to work on horses. What are you going to do different to prevent you from being the guy I just talked about? It's easily done. We all fall in a groove and all of a sudden we wake up and our back hurts and we don't have any money. It's because we didn't work on our stuff. Now think with me for a minute. Whatever your base price is right now, what is that? Are you happy with that? What would you charge if you could? If they're just like, I just want you, what are you going to say? We are in charge of our destiny. If your goal is to charge a lot of money, you can get there. It depends on you though, on how far you can get it. I charge $250 now. I got from $100 to $250 in 3 years because I sidelined every hobby. My family was very supportive, luckily, but you really got to get all in to get that done. I tell my guys, I got 3 apprentices, I tell them they're going to pay us $1,000 to shoe a horse one day. And that's not fly across the world and nail some special shoes on. That's base prices in my shop, Weatherford, Texas. They'll do it. I don't know when they'll do it, but they're going to do it because we're going to keep getting better and better and better and better. So, when you're thinking about what you want to charge, what do you think is stopping you? Just be honest with yourselves. Give me a hand raise right now. Who thinks location is holding them back the most? Anybody? Few people? Right on. What about the rest? Are your skills holding you back the most? All right, you guys can go far. Marketing and advertising. Customer service. When was the last time you took a course on that? Whatever it is. We're all here because we work on our shoeing skills, and that's awesome. I applaud you. We are raising the industry prices. We're raising the skill level. The horse is better off because we're all here today. But what about the rest? Udemy is an online deal. It's an app. You can take a course on literally anything. I've taken several on public speaking, marketing, Facebook, Instagram, iMovie, literally anything. You guys, a lot of people come to me and they say, man, I want to work on my promotion like you do. It's no different than anything else. You got to work at it. Nobody's going to give it to you. There's no special combo. That's a whole lot into everything. But the good news is that you 100% can do whatever you're thinking is the issue. I promise you. I swear to God you can do it, but you are going to have to bear down. And it doesn't matter what speakers you listen to. If you don't go home and apply it, it's all for naught. I got an iPhone, I can hit the button on the side and I can say, schedule this, remind me to do this, make a note for this, because I forget and then it doesn't happen. That's my way of doing that, staying on track. You know, I think this is one of the most true statements I've known, is that you don't know what you don't know. It's a lot like why they don't let doctors work on their kids. You're too close. You can't see that. It's like my good buddy Blaine Chapman right here. If I get in any sort of a bind, I will ask him for outside help. You don't know what just a little bit of outside influence will do to your life. I'm a big Grant Moon fan. He came to my house 3 times last year. He's coming twice in April. He looks at every one of my hard horses and looks at the system, because I learned that I can't trust my own judgment. Like you'll hear somebody up here talking about balance. And like Wayne, your presentation was awesome. And I'm sitting back here and I'm going, yeah, you know, I like those heart bar frog support pads too. You know, those are awesome. And I'm thinking, we got so much in common. And then it's just like, you know, when Grant's talking to me and he says, you know, you got to work on your trim. Your medial lateral is out of balance or needs to do this. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Same way I do it. Then he picks up the foot and he goes, what the hell is that? That's the way every part of our business is. You've got to get some help. You've got to try hard, because life is a matter of perspective. And if you don't change yours, you'll never change your life. So I believe that it breaks down to, I mean, it's a lot, but the basic skills are these. Who believes customer service is number one? Because horses can't write checks, that's why. We need to do a good service to the horse. I'm a huge horse advocate, but there's a reason why I have a waiting room, a coffee machine, mimosas, beer in my waiting room for my clients, is because I want them happy. I want them glad to be there. Customer service is hands down by far the number one thing I believe you can do. Next to that is improving your hoof care skills. And I can prove that to you right now. There's somebody in every one of your hometowns that is a terrible horseshoer that has a full book. How does he do it? He shows up on time. He does what he says he's going to. He is nice to people. They didn't even notice he shod the horse on the way he was talking so great. Looking the part. I may take this a little far, but I believe in dressing for success. I believe that if you want to be judged as a professional, you better look like one too. Everybody talks about how they can't get high prices. Well, if you're showing up and you're dripping oil on their concrete and you got a awful outfit on and you're cussing and all that stuff, that's a bad presentation. Easily controlled by you. Advertising and marketing is big, but I think it's a little different than most people think, and we'll get into that. But hiring good help, super important. Being a professional is a lifestyle. If you get anything from this slide at all, that's it. You can't just pick one. You got to get them all. Those are all things you can change. You're in the customer service business. Show up, be nice. I've never told a client off in my life, even though I really wanted to a lot of times. There's no profit in it. There's no profit in looking bad. No matter how wrong the other person is, you'll never look good calling them out on it. Manage your calls and texts, that's an easy one, but we all forget it, including me. I don't even like chicken. And when I show up to Chick-fil-A, I come in there and I'm like, this place is awesome. Every single person in there wants you to be there. You walk in and they say, how's your day going? And they mean it. You know the difference between, how's your day, to, how's your day? I mean, I don't know what their whole deal is, but they really do a good job of it. And they don't work Sundays, and that's a Christian base, and they don't want to burn their workers out. Just like us, don't kill yourselves. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. You can say whatever you want to about calling them fluffy. I usually get mildly offended when farriers call horses fluffy. Because you need to treat that sucker like he is the most important horse in the whole world. My guys, they have instructions. Everyone gets a compliment. And it's not a BS one either. If they bring the ugliest thing in here, you go, man, that sure is a good-minded sucker. That goes a long way. Bottom line, if they're paying you to do something to that horse, it's important to them. I truly believe now that no one will ever know all there is to know about hoof care. So I grew up in South Dakota, and I grew up on a ranch, and shoeing was the least of the concern in the grand scheme of things. And I rodeoed a lot and learned to shoe just so I could do my own horses. And then all of a sudden I needed to make more money and got tired of training horses. So I'm like, well, I'll just start throw my shingle out there and shoe for the public. Well, that worked out great. Pretty much immediately. Within 1 year in Stephenville, Texas, I had a full book with a bucket. There was nothing fancy about my thing. 100% cold. And you can do a good job cold. But I was working on some pretty nice rodeo horses, but no one would pay me more than $90 or $100. And every time I tried to go up, they'd be like, no. It's like, well, I'm going to go get certified. That way, they're going to have to pay a certified guy more. Got him. Well, I went to certification and I failed. And it was a very enlightening moment. Honestly, it probably saved my life, really, because prior to that, my back got so bad that I couldn't even pick up my baby boy out of his crib. And I couldn't afford to not work, right? So I get down here and I just stay there as long as possible, and I just work with my hands, and I really avoid doing that one. By the grace of God, that went away, but it didn't ever change my mentality, because from that moment on, I knew I had to do something different. And there's only two ways to make more money shoeing horses, and that's shoeing more or charging more. And I was not shoeing more. So, go to certification, failed, and I was pissed. I was supposed to know everything there was, and then here I come in and miss a heel. It's like, son of a gun. I didn't throw a fit or nothing, but I was woke up, and things started to happen right there. I went to 11 clinics the next year and started getting anybody that would help me that I thought was good. I was reaching out to them. I sidelined all my hobbies, and I passed my CF, and then right there, I'd never made a handmade shoe in my life, and I said, I will be a journeyman. And I didn't say it cocky. I didn't mean to brag on that, but I meant it. I will be a journeyman. I will follow this to the end of the earth. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, but I'm not stopping until I get there. And I think that's the way, if you want to change your life, you've got to attack it with some intensity, because if you don't, you'll just drift along and things won't happen. So, after that, I told myself that I will never stop learning. So, I highly advise that. If anything, you don't have to be certified. I don't care if you're certified or not. There's some great farriers that aren't. But it's the only way to keep track of score that I know of. There's a timeline. Who's going to read books when you don't have to? But if you got a test coming up in 3 weeks, if you're like me, you're studying for 2 hours before and you're forging after work. Because if you don't know your stuff on that day, you will fail. You better have it together. And that is not fun for me, so I try really hard not to fail, so that is about the only way I can make myself crack a book. Remember, I used to have a bucket, so I can appreciate everyone's situation, but I'll promise you, that baby pays for herself. My shop pays for itself. People just see that and they see the shop and they just assume you know what you're doing. And it's easy. And it's a tax write-off. Literally gonna pay for itself. If you don't have one, by the end of this presentation, I want you to look at that and go, somebody's gonna pay me to have that. It's not even gonna come out of my pocket. All right. This is the bear. We can do 5 presentations on this. But here's the crash course. I think the gist that I see on a lot of Facebook posts or Instagram is you can post whatever you want. But this is the takeaway. I'm a really great farrier. I'm a really great farrier and you should use me. Doesn't that make you feel confident in me? What if influential horse trainer or a vet said, he's a really great farrier, you should use him? Absolutely will use you. So be careful you're working in the right areas. This is from the Chris Cox show. It doesn't have to be somebody that high of a level, but you just find somebody that's influential and you use them like stepping stones. You gotta convince that person. Nobody gets to get away with any tricks nowadays. I mean, Facebook, it's all out there. You do a bad job, everybody's gonna know about it. So you got to do a good job and get it in front of the right people that are gonna help you get there. That is my advice on marketing. So I've got 3 apprentices and I do a 4-year apprenticeship program. And there's a lot of people that say, that's a long time. Well, I got tired of giving people enough education for them to leave me, make us both look bad. So it's 4 years or nothing. But the silver lining for them and why I feel that I get the good help is because I do a lot for them more than just teach them about shoeing. I'm not that special of a farrier, I know, but I get around ones that are. I bring in the best that I know of. And if there's somebody special, I'll get them too. And they'll some show us what they know. I put a roof over their head. I give them clients. One apprentice made $30,000 on the side on the weekends, because I don't work weekends, so that's their deal. On his first year. And it's like, this is shoeing tools at day 1. So when you're talking about good help and you're complaining about how crappy the millennials are, think about what you're doing for them. You don't get to, I believe in taking care of people. So if you can find a way to find mutual ground to where you're helping them and they're helping you, well, that's the way I think life is meant to be lived. It has nothing to do with how great of a farrier you are, in my opinion. Because what will happen, even if you're bad to the bone, but you treat them like hell, you might get a short time out of them. But the time when you finally get them on your side and get them walking to your beat of your drum, they'll be gone. I believe that you cannot pick one thing. I might be a little intense on this stuff, but I truly believe in my heart that you've got to do it all. I really believe that to be true. Excellence is not just something that we do, it's a habit. It's something that happens every single day. That's why I dress nice. That's why I try to show up nice. Or I try to do everything to the best of my ability, because it's a package deal. People don't doubt you when you operate on that stuff. It's very common that everybody everybody wants to start at the top, and I don't blame them, but the grave digger is the only guy that gets to do that. You're going to have to work at the bottom. And I don't care if you're a big dog farrier or whatever, but if you want more, consider yourself at the bottom right now. Whatever it is that you got to do to get better, make a plan. Start working on it right now. You should say, Monday afternoon, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get on Amazon right now and buy a book. I'm going to do whatever it is that's holding you back. You need to start right now. We're a lot like a turtle on a post. We didn't get there on our own. None of us did. I think it's the most important thing is to gather yourself with more knowledgeable people than you. And if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. What it takes is the late nights and the early mornings. If you want to have things that other people don't, you're going to have to do things that other people aren't doing. It's not rocket science. This is one of my favorite slides in the whole wide world right here. How true is that, huh? If you don't have time and are self-employed, you need to rethink what's going on. You can't even say hi to another farrier without them saying, "You been busy?" You say, "Yeah, I've been busy." "You been busy?" "Oh man, so busy, my clients." How cool is that? That's not cool at all. When we talk about the stack of money that you made because you charged a bunch, it didn't work very much to get it. That's something to be proud of. Got a big 401k or a Roth going, that's good on you. But don't get caught up with working hard is the most important thing, because it's not. Working smart is the most important thing. So you've got control of your whole situation, and I don't care how special your horses are or how special you are. You are in charge. The owner will scream at you and do all this stuff, or try to say that things need done. You need to manage them better. Get them on a schedule. Don't ever let their horse suffer, and they'll leave you alone. Nobody cares. If their horse is long and they see on Facebook that you're at a convention or doing anything else, they got a new farrier. They're pissed. And good for them, too. I mean, it's a business, and you're not taking care of business. How you schedule is up to you. If you're working weekends, if you're working holidays, and you need to rethink your strategy. Whatever the reason why you're doing that needs changed. Because if that's a certain dollar amount that you have to get to, if you've ever watched Pat Broadus' speech, it's amazing. And it is also very scary on what our break-even price is. Usually the helper nets more than anybody else, than the owner. So you need to rethink getting your prices raised up, because that's where it's at. You get your money up, and you can put your work down, make the same. Don't let your business run you, and people will treat you how you let them. If you're working for a bunch of crazy people that are mean to you, you're the one working with them. I mean, just be the king of your castle is all I'm saying. Don't blame it on everybody else. I don't really want to get way into this, but I want you to think about driving as an employee. Do your truck as an employee. It's necessary evil. We gotta have it. But between the fuel and depreciation and the maintenance and the tires is that category over here, and then just a simple breakdown of depreciation over here. So the more it depreciates, the newer the truck is, but the older it gets, the higher chance that you have of having big breakdowns. Everybody knows that. But what I don't like about driving, though, is that if you think about it like an employee, if I'm getting 13 miles a gallon and I drive to a 1 hour stop, well, then it takes an hour to get there and an hour to get back. So now I'm looking at $54 to get there and back, and that's just break even. But wait, there's more, because What I don't like about that is my time. Whatever you make an hour, whatever it is, if it's 100 or 500 or 1,000, if it's $500, you just lost $1,000 right there driving. That's the way I look at it. People say, I charge mileage, I get $1 a mile. Good for you. That sounds awful. I mean, I'm all for making money, but don't let nickels cost you dollars, you know? I mean, that's essentially how I grew into doing haul-ins 4 days a week, is that I got so tired of the driving and windshield time that I just started telling people that I can do them if they come to me. And there's days we don't even start our truck, and I really feel like I just took money and put it in my pocket right there. All right. I know everybody can agree that you make more money when you raise your prices, right? Who would have thought? But sometimes, you know, we get to thinking about, like, my dad is a very great person, and he's a rancher, and he's as good a guy as you'll ever meet. But I remember talking to him about going up to $100 from 90. And he says, he was scared for me. He said, son, those people have been good to you. You need to be good back to them. Remember who got you there, other friends would say. Well, that's right. But this is a business. What happens when you spike a nail in one of those on accident and they fire you? They still remember all the good times? So getting your prices up there really helps. $60,000 extra if you can get from 150 to 200 on the year. If you work for 10 years, there's your retirement package right there. I feel like everywhere I go, I hear this, and it doesn't matter. People say, my clients won't pay that. Now you might look at me and talk about the nice rig and Weatherford, Texas and all that stuff. I grew up in the 4th poorest county in America. I know what you're talking about when you're saying that clients won't pay. The horses suck. All these crappy situations. There's a guy in every one of your towns that's not very good, right? Well, you should be able to charge at least twice as much as him, right? Right? So, don't get caught up on what your clients are telling you. That's not the feedback you need. You might be right. They're not the right client. But I'm going to show you how to use them as a stepping stone to get to the ones that you do want. And if they won't take a raise, how good a client are they? That means they're using you because you're cheap, not because you're good. So just a simple breakdown, you know, like I really want to instill that you guys don't have to work that hard to make a lot of money. If you're doing 5 horses a day, all my numbers are figured on 5 horses a day for 5 days a week. So it comes out to 1,300 horses a year, so like what Blaine does by March, I think.
That's why I'm here.
That's right. Okay, so if you work 6 days a week and got $100, you make $156,000, right? Well, if you can bump your skills up to even just 150 or 125, you can make that same number bumping yourself down a week or more. And then if you can get your prices up real high, you can make the same working half the time, charging twice as much. I know that's pretty simple numbers, but if you guys think about it, it's truly worth pursuing. The problem is that you think, yeah, it's worth it, and then you don't take any action. That's what I don't like. I know not everybody's going to be on the same board with this, same page as me on this, but I would not do it any other way. I mean, obviously you do what you have to, but I don't have to, because I have educated my clients enough that it's just one more shoe in a year, and I feel like no matter what we're doing, we're always fighting length. If it's a therapeutic case or a high performance case, like we don't ever get to let it be a thing to where they're long. Oh, sorry, he had a bad day, he was due, you know, and this should have done this. That doesn't happen in my business. That puts a big target on you, and I'm in the business of not having targets on me. And there's less shoe loss, there's more resets, it's simply faster. You pull the shoes off, there's less to take off, easier on you, more resets, because my resets, when they get longer, they might loosen the nails up a little bit, wear the toe out. That doesn't happen as much. Most shoes get pulled at the last week, right? Usually. Well, anytime you can nail more resets on, you're going to save more time, right? So if you save just 5 minutes a day for a year, you have 2 weeks off. And the best part about it is, it's easy to schedule. Like, what we do is we go to one big account every Tuesday. You can bet your life it's 5 weeks, 5 weeks, 5 weeks. Just wheels on the bus go round and round, and that's pretty easy to schedule, and the clients love not having to mess with it. They just have 100% confidence. I mean, you set your clock on that schedule by we're coming. And you need 17% less clients. I'm going to talk to you a lot about creating a demand. That's a good way to shrink them down, and you can really get picky on them, right? So that really helps. Big fan of the 5-week schedule. Some people don't like it, and they'll say, well, the nail holes are in the way. Well, get some shoes with some more nail holes in them, or punch some nail holes, or do whatever. Doesn't mean you have to take the foot off. You can actually preserve it and leave it a little longer, because you know you're going to be back. It's just, I'm in the risk management business, I feel, and if there's a liability, I'm going to punt it. And I feel like this is an easy way. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are pretty proud of having a waiting list, or I'm full. I was full when I had a bucket. There's nothing to be proud of about that. The easiest way to get a great big raise for yourself is to get new clients. And I'm going to explain how that works. So Grant was at my house several years ago, and he's assessing my business, and he's like, so what do you want? I said, well, I want to get some big cutting accounts. You know, there's a lot of trims, and money happens pretty quick that way, you know. He's like, where are you going to put it? He's looking at my book. He said, if they called today, you couldn't get them in for 6 weeks. He's like, you need to be able to get them in right away. Okay, so I started thinking about it, and then I came up with this 80-20 rule. Nobody came up with that, been around forever, but I use it. And I always want to be 80% full. And I don't care if you want to shoot 7 days a week, 5 days a week, or 1 afternoon a week. That is your 100%. And of that 100%, we're going to pull it down to 80. So pretty much if you're working 5 days a week, you don't schedule Friday afternoon or whatever. So, in worst case scenario, you got Friday afternoon off. What's wrong with that? But what it does do is some good account calls, you get them in. A really great account can't wait that long. Very rarely do they say, well, you just got done shoeing them, and you know, I think I'm going to use you next time. Normally it's like, I'm sick of this, and when can you get here? So if you have that built in, you can bring them in. But this is how I got to where I'm seriously pretty full every day but Tuesday at our house, and that's because of this right here. People call and say, instead of saying, I can't get to you, you say, you bet, bring them in. We'll fit them in. And while that may bring a couple crazy clients in that you don't want, that will happen. But what it will do is it'll bring in other clients that maybe were getting neglected because they only have 1 or 2 horses. I don't care how many horses you have. The parking lot's going to be full. I mean, I don't care if they bring them in 1 at a time or 10 at a time. This is an easy way to bring in another kind of client. Do you really care who you shoot for at the end of the day? We need to have some influential clients, yes, but you can have the rest of the 80% of them be high paying, bring them to you, don't really care the rest of the details. To me, anyway. Good people, good horses, they pay, they're not crazy. Ideal client. And then you're going to run into people that say, well, I can't bring them to you I can only bring them to you on the weekends. We either say, well, sorry, I don't work weekends, or I can't do them at 8 when you get off work. What I do is I punt it to my boys. And then they do them, or if they don't want to use them, they'll say, well, wish we could help you. But you're not turning them away. The secret to business is you've got to get it coming in. At least you can filter it if you got it, right? So, how to get up to 80% full? You know, I understand that some of you are out there building a business and trying to get up to 80%. What the 5-week thing does is that it really creates a demand. It allows you to kind of shrink things down, better clients, and how many horses do you actually need is what I really want you to think about. Just focus, if you don't have enough horses, just focus on shoeing the heck out of them. That is what I tell myself and the boys whenever we get in a jam, whenever we don't know what to do, we're just going to shoe the shit out of them. Because you'll never be fired for that. They might be like, well, you know, you put the totally wrong shoe on, but it's a great job. Well, I can live with that. Even if you get fired, I can live with that shoe job making it on Facebook or the vet talking about it. So, do your best work and you fill your book. All right. I love this slide. Somebody tell me your prices. One person. You, what's your price? 1, 2, 3.
225 full set, 125 half set, 45
Okay.
set.
Couldn't pick a solid number here? Come on. All right. All right. You charge $250. Would they leave you if you raised your prices $12.50? You said, hey, you know what? I've been going to convention, I feel like I'm a better farrier than I was a little bit ago, and I'm going to raise my prices. $12.50. Wouldn't bat an eye? Just cost yourself $16,250 last year for not doing that. Could have had a Polaris Ranger, man. 4-seater, baby.
Or that rig that you needed.
So you can look at the 40% raise and you're like, oh, come on now, who's going to take a 40% raise? You're telling me you charge $250 and you're going to put $100 on it? That might be a reach. But what isn't a reach is when the new clients call, you get them with the 40. You're full anyway. What are you giving them discounts? Why did they get to come on as the same price as your good clients that have proved themselves? That's what I want you guys to take away from this. It truly pays to raise your prices. And to raise your prices, there's lots of ways to do it, but I like to be able to at least say that I've improved myself and I'm a better farrier. But at the end of the day, raise them no matter what. And get it, and don't get caught up with the 5%. If you're going to raise them, you can't raise them every week. Go ahead and get them. 10% at least, 20 is where you should be. And I'm not talking about screwing anybody either. It's just you being a good businessman. So what's the definition of a good client? This has changed a lot for me over the years. As you meet your heroes and turn out they're not very good people a lot of the time. Honestly, everyone asks what my favorite horse is. You know what my favorite horse is? Is the one that cares about their horse. The one that's willing to, ma'am, I really think you need to go get a vet to look at this horse. Boom, they're at the vet. And while those clients can be stressful, and you're going to need to know your stuff, those are the clients that you can really solve some problems with. You need x-rays? Bam! You need an injection? Bam! Ma'am, you need to get off this horse. Okay. And it's not always backyard people. I got NFR horses that would do that. Don't judge people too quickly, technically, quite a bit of my clientele probably, you could call them a little crazy. But that's their baby. I used to not understand that, but some of the horses that we work on, whether they're backyard horses or high-performance horses, that's their life. It's important to them. That's the kind of horses I want to work on. I don't want to work on some dink or whatever somebody doesn't care about. All right. This is risk-free raises. And that sounds silly, but I'm telling you guys, it's like playing blackjack. You're only risking what you're putting on the table. We're keeping A, B, and C in our pocket, and we're going to put D up there on the table and gamble a little. I want you to, so what happened is that in the transition I was talking about with Grant, I called my uncle, who is a very, very good retired stockbroker. And I was like, he's like, you and I have the same exact business. You're trying to build a great list of clients, a book of clients, he called it. He said, and you need to cut all your Ds. Organize them A, B, C, and D and just cut them, because your bottom end costs you the most money and use all of your time. The top end, in just about every business, pays for everything. Well, I took his advice, except for I didn't cut them. I raised them. You can raise the prices, you can change the terms, don't cut them, you already got them, it's a potential client. And you'll never understand, I will never understand, who's going to stay and who's going to go. Like your best friend, brother, whatever, might cut you over it, and then there might be someone you thought that would definitely leave, not, and just keep paying more and more and more. So what happens is that we raise the Ds, and then we redo our books in 3 months or 6 months. Now, Pam Carter, she stayed, she's cool. Now she's in the B category. Ralph and Josie, they left. They didn't like the prices. But what did happen is that, remember the new clients that we got with the 40% raise? Welcome to the A list, huh? At least the B. So now you look over and you've got a whole new list of Ds. And it truly is risk-free raises. And sometimes people will say, well, what happens when the Ds talk to the Cs? You can say whatever you want to. They know why they're Ds. This is just business. You know, everybody gets to say what's in it. For me, you need to too. So, when it comes to raising your prices, don't listen to your clients. What am I going to say when someone raises my prices on something? Oh, that's a great idea. I was wondering when you'd do that. Hell no. Even if I know they need to, I'm still like, okay. Right? Who's going to admit to wanting a price raise? Nobody. But they really want your service. If you're backing it up, if you're doing what you should, they'll stay. And if not, you only risk the D's anyway. What happens when your spouse, your mom, whatever, your closest friend has a really nice horse and you cripple it? What happens? You are done, right? They've got somebody else. Those are going to figure it out. Or you break your leg. You think that horse is going to miss a day? They're going to have another Farrier that fast. They're going to have it completely planned. That sounds like a business to me, right? You can't blame them for it. Why can they blame you for doing yours? You know, I realize that your area can definitely affect your prices. You're not going to get the same in the middle of nowhere like you will where there's populated people with money. But what I believe that we miss as an industry, though, is raising the ceiling. No one sets our ceiling but us. So when we're over there doing discounts and undercutting our friends, we're lowering the ceiling. What are we doing? Why did they get paid this, or why did they get a discount to switch? If you did it on this system, it would just, people want to bounce around. Great, yeah, call me if I can help you. And then it's going to go. We're all going to go higher. You know, if you're the bad cat in the middle of nowhere and you complain about not being able to get your prices up higher, you are 100% responsible for raising that ceiling. All the guys that are starving, shoeing all the bad horses that you get because you do the good ones, that's your fault. You affect everybody. Pat Broadus says that 3 guys in every area control the market, and I believe that. So while we talk about prices and everybody gets caught up with, you can't do that where I live, and maybe you can't get it. $400 like you can in Florida in the middle of nowhere, but you can charge more. You get paid for quality everywhere you go in life. I truly believe that. Just like what I was talking about, your perspective. You've got to be careful about your own input because it's skewed. You're too close. We blame it on the area. We blame it on something else. Why don't you ask somebody else if you're doing everything you should? If you think anything is perfect, you're not looking hard enough. The rising tide raises all boats, and I think together we can all help each other. So when I went through my back pain with my baby boy, that was real stuff. I always kind of saw people with back pain, and they kind of looked like an old man, and they're kind of doing that number, and it's kind of, honestly, I kind of thought they were a little soft. And then I got back pain. I'm not joking you. I will walk across this room to help somebody with back pain. It is real stuff. It affects every minute of your life. And I don't care how big and bad you are, it's going to catch up to you. If you're shoeing 7 days a week, if you're doing more than you should, you will wear out. You've only got one body. So we go to the gym. I really don't like going to the gym. But I had a Farrier friend at 38 have a heart attack. Well, he doesn't take care of himself. He drinks too much beer and he eats too much and he never works out. And he ropes a lot. I can relate to all of that. And that is what scares me. So, just like the rest of our business, you got to work on the hard stuff. You want to go to the gym and work on your chest and arms so things look good? That's great. You know what's going to save your life? A treadmill. Run it. Got to get that heart rate up. I hate running, so I go to CrossFit. So, do whatever you got to do that works for you, but I would suggest doing something. Love this. How true is that? Is back pain everything because they're shoeing too hard? Might be a lot of it. We also need to make sure that we're keeping our body up to par too. How many wealthy farriers do you know? I bet you know a lot of people that make a lot of money, but I bet not as many farriers. You bet you don't know as many rich farriers as you do in other fields. You got a bunch of money in the bank. It's a huge exit strategy. Not very many of them. So I took a poll. So this is one thing I want you to think about on investments. I'm not an expert, but I work with them. It's kind of like my hoof care stuff. Would you rather work forever or have your money working forever? The best analogy I've ever heard is that you need to treat money like it's an employee. You need to bring it in and you need to put it to work. And you put it on the right deal, it's just like a hamster, round and round and round and round. So I took a poll on Farrier last week or whatever. What was that? Like 5 times as many people voted for what their business needed was investments in retirement. That tells me they don't have a plan. That's scary stuff. You start putting a couple $100 in there when you're young, you'll have more money than you'll know what to do with. Then you mess around and then you don't do it until you're 35, and now you're going to have to put in more money to get the same result. And then you get messed around and you're going to be 50. Now you got to put in more money. It's like fencing. If you're going to go out and fix some fence, if you're only taking one guy, you better start early. If you're going to try to knock it out, you can take 10 guys. It's like investing when you're 50 to opposed to 20. Still a good idea? Do it as soon as you can. Anybody agree with this? Huh? You ever had that happen with a horse owner? How'd that work out for him? Not very good? Then why do you do it with your money? I can pretty much sum up every question you have in life with I got a guy. Doesn't mean I know anything, but I know a lot of people that do. And I hope those people close. And when it comes to money, I've got a CPA that's pretty cool, and I got money management that's even better. And they pay for themselves. It's like the shoeing truck. I truly believe they make money. They not only pay for themselves, but they make money. I mean, you can make a ton of money and keep that money back in circulation and get a refund. And you're not screwing anybody. What you're doing is you're following the American dream. You're stimulating the economy. You're making money, you're spending money, you're making money, you're spending money. Just make sure you're putting it in beneficial spots. You know, at the end of the day, we are so fortunate compared to so many other industries. We get to make our own schedule, we get to set our own prices, we get to get as good as we want, we get to stay as bad as we want. We can do anything we want to. When you compare that to the rest of the world, even the worst farrier you know, as a person, they're still quite a bit better than the general public, in my opinion. They're dang sure not as soft. So I think that we should get over some of the issues that we have, and if we could come together from the toe clip setback thing to whatever issues we have and get tighter, we can raise our prices, we can all work less and make more. It all sounds great. It's never going to happen because we won't do it, but if we did, I truly believe it would happen. And don't forget to give back. You know, you don't always get to be on the take. And I truly believe that if you help people get what they want, enough of them, you will get what you want. I talk a lot about the money. And money comes, money goes. It's not about the money. I just want to have enough money where those guys in the picture aren't stressed. That's my goal. I just want it to be as easy as possible. Here's the bottom line of the whole deal, guys. It's not rocket science. You improve your skills so that you can get paid more to work less. And you are the only thing that's stopping you. And if you're failing to plan, you're planning to fail. I've got one simple question for every single one of you. What do you want? If you don't know by now, you are in a bind. You have been at one of the greatest educational opportunities you've been at. What do you want? What are you going to do to get there? That is the most important part. What is going to happen now? Are you going to hope it happens, or gosh, I sure like to raise my prices and get better? Or are you going to make it happen? You got to rear back and make these things happen. People call you lucky. I promise the harder you work, the luckier you will get. And if you're willing to pour your heart and soul into something, I promise you will win. Winners win because they don't give up. They don't stop when they fail. They don't care how many times they fail the test. They are going to win. What are your goals? If you can't tell me your 1, 2, 3 goals right now, you need to write them down. You have got to have a plan. You got to have a plan that you look at every single day. That baby needs to be on the wall. You need to have a clear path to success on your goal. Otherwise, you're not going to get there. You can hope it happens and shit in the other and see which one fills up faster. The worst part about not having a plan is that's the greatest plan there is in the whole world. And it's guaranteed to work. And that's going to fail you. You know what they call a goal without a plan, right? That's just a dream. And dreams are not going to work unless you do. This life was meant to be lived on purpose, and you've only got one shot at it. I suggest you bear down and give it every single thing you have. And if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly!